Number 10. Justin Timberlake. One of the most discussed sections of the memoir is, of course, what really happened between Britney and Justin. After meeting him in the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, they sparked a romantic connection and Britney fell very hard. Unfortunately, she had to make a difficult decision in the year 2000 after she found out that she was pregnant with Justin's baby. At first, she was actually pretty excited about the whole thing, and in her book she revealed that she'd been planning on starting a family with him at some point. So this was just a little earlier than expected. But it turned out that Justin was not so excited. He told her that they were both too young to be starting a family, and he reminded her that their careers would also need to be put on pause. This revelation might be part of the reason why Justin was reportedly so nervous leading up to the book's release. Britney revealed that if the decision had been solely left to her, she would have gone through with the pregnancy, but she decided to go the opposite route instead. She claims to have only done it because Justin so clearly did not want to be a father, which again is something that people are really shocked about. Number 9. Christina Aguilera. Christina and Britney met the same way most young people in Hollywood meet while auditioning for a TV show. During the first round of auditions, neither of them made the cut, but they were reintroduced after they were casted later on, and even ended up sharing a dressing room during their time on the show. Sadly, it wasn't long before the two of them were pitted against each other in the media, and they were often made to look like rivals. Britney doesn't give too many details about this in the book, but she did mention that she was very confused when Christina was vocally in support of her and Justin getting back together in 2003. She was surprised considering how negative she had been about the situation behind closed doors. She's also completely out of the conversation when she mentions her onstage kiss with Madonna in 2001. Later in the book, Britney actually compliments Christina on her ability to handle nerves when it comes to live TV appearances. She said they would go out together to drink and celebrate, but under the conservatorship, she was to remain sober. She admitted that it would have been nice to let loose with her friends at the time, but now that she is free, hopefully they can get back together. Number 8. Madonna. Madonna's name is mentioned several times throughout Britney's memoir. As a young girl, Britney said she idolized Madonna and did everything to be like her. Once she gained some fame, she was asked to attend award shows. She was bumping into Madonna all around the world. At one point in time, she was staying with Cher when Madonna came for a visit. Britney claims that she found a mentor in her, which gave her the confidence to see her situation with a fresh set of eyes. While rehearsing for the VMAs one year, Britney had the idea to get Madonna involved on her single Me Against the Music. She approached her directly, and the rest is history. Reflecting on her past, she says that if she could go back, she would attempt to be her own everything, her own boss, parent, friend, and partner, because that is what Madonna does. She was in awe of how much she refused to compromise her artistic vision and integrity, something that she has carried with her for all these years. Number 7. Colin Farrell. Shortly after her breakup with Justin Timberlake, Britney talked about the moment that she laid eyes on a handsome guy named Colin Farrell. She met him on the set of The SWAT, and since there were no security on set, she was able to just drive up and pop by for a visit. One day while visiting the soundstage, the director spotted her and asked if she would like to watch them film a scene, and that's when Colin approached her. According to Britney, that was when they got into a fling, and they were eventually so attracted to each other that they literally would not separate for that 2 weeks. Colin even took her to the premiere of The Recruit, where she accidentally wore a pajama top instead of normal clothes. She claimed that the fling was short-lived and ended quickly after she realized that she was just using him as a rebound, considering that she was still not over Justin Timberlake. This revelation is a little sad considering that it's one of the most unexpected celebrity couples to ever appear. Looking back, it's really difficult to imagine the two of them together, but it probably would have been a much more healthy relationship than the one that she had with Justin. Number 6. Rachel McAdams. For anyone who might have forgotten, Britney is not just famous in the world of music, but she actually attempted to get an acting career off the ground for a brief period in the early 2000s. After starring in the movie Crossroads, she auditioned for a role in The Notebook, which is crazy considering that she almost played alongside Ryan Gosling in one of the most iconic romance movies ever made. In fact, she got so far into the casting process that it was just down to her or Rachel, and in the end we all know that they went with Rachel, but that is a choice that Britney fully supported. Apparently she started to get cold feet further on into the process, so instead of being in The Notebook, she went on to work on her album In the Zone, putting her creative efforts to good use despite the Hollywood rejection. While we may never know what that movie would have turned out like, it is something that fans would have loved to see. Number 5. Lynn Spears. Britney's parental relationships are covered a lot in the memoir, where she discusses her strained relationship with her mother Lynn Spears, and this is where we find out a lot more about her childhood and how it was linked with her drinking history. She said she started drinking alcohol with her mom when she was in the 8th grade, which is obviously enough to raise a few eyebrows. But the issue here is that she really didn't just have a sip of wine, it was a whole lot more than that. She wrote, "For fun, starting when I was in the 8th grade, my mom and I would make the 2-hour drive from Kentwood to Mississippi, and while we were there, we would drink Daiquiri daiquiris. We called our cocktails toddies. Britney loved that she was able to drink with her mom every now and then, but said the way that they drank was nothing like how their father did it. When he drank, he grew more depressed and he shut down, whereas they became happier, more alive, and more adventurous. While it sounds like she was a lot closer to her mom, you do have to question that behavior, considering just how young Britney was introduced to drinking, which is actually kind of sad. Number 4. Jamie Spears. Britney and her father have had a complex relationship over the years, and he became one of her biggest critics. In her memoir, Britney shared the harsh judgment that she constantly received from him. She said, "If I thought getting criticized about my body in the press was bad, it hurt even more coming from my own father. He repeatedly told me I looked fat and that I was going to have to do something about it." And Britney endured Jamie's criticism as a young child too. She said, "Feeling like you're never good enough is a soul-crushing state of being for a child. He drummed that message into me as a girl, and even after I'd accomplished so much, he was continuing to do that to me." Jamie's troubling opinions about Britney worsened when she was under her conservatorship. In 2008, her father was named as one of the several individuals who could now make important decisions for her. And when she entered the conservatorship, bodily autonomy was stripped away. She had to grow out her hair and get back into shape. For the next 13 years, Jamie would remain in control of so much of her life up until his suspension in 2021. Number 3. Elton John. The Rocket Man himself actually played a pivotal role in Britney being able to find her musical voice after her struggles with her conservatorship. In her memoir, Britney shared that she hadn't been thinking about recording music until Elton John reached out to her to collaborate on Hold Me Closer, which is a modern duet of his hit song Tiny Dancer, a song that Britney claims to have blasted on repeat growing up. Apparently the remix was actually Elton's idea because he's a huge Britney fan and he's always been a major supporter of hers. Which is amazing because Britney has been hinting for a while now that she is ready to get back to work after she finally became free of her nearly 14-year-long conservatorship. On July 15th, she shared an Instagram video of herself singing a new, edgier version of Baby One More Time while doing laundry, and in the caption she wrote, "I haven't shared my voice in an extremely long time, maybe too long." That post really got her fans hyped up because it sounds like she's getting ready for a massive comeback in music. Number 2. Natalie Portman. Who would have guessed that Natalie Portman of all people would be mentioned in the memoir of Britney Spears? But as luck would have it, this is a very small world, and Natalie actually crossed paths with Britney when they were both understudies in the off-Broadway production of Ruthless. They both played a sociopathic child star named Tina Denmark, a role that Britney claims felt close to home for her. Following the split from Justin Timberlake, she co-hosted a New Year's Eve party in New York, which is called Back to the Theater Days. It is difficult to picture Britney Spears on stage doing anything other than singing, but the idea of her also acting in a live show would be pretty cool. So hopefully Britney and Natalie get cast together again and then they can both take to the stage. Between the incredible talent of those two women, there's no doubt that tickets will sell out in a flash. And coming in at number 1, Mariah Carey. Despite being a mega pop star herself, Britney had a fangirl moment when she met Mariah Carey. In the early years of her career, she had been a longtime fan of Mariah's work, and as a kid she would practice performing by making homemade music videos of herself dancing and singing to Mariah's music. She then introduced herself to Mariah by knocking on her dressing room door backstage at an award show that the two of them had been attending. She said that Mariah was a sweetheart and immediately said yes to taking a picture. But in true Mariah fashion, she would not accept anything but good lighting and the right angles for photos. Britney said she did everything that she was told to by Mariah in order to get the right angle. She claimed that she really knows her stuff and the picture looked incredible. Britney knew she had won an award that night, but she said she could not compare her trophy to her picture with her childhood hero. So that was a very sweet part of the book.
And for number 5, we have Sam Asghari. Not only is he an actor, model, and fitness trainer, but he was also married to Britney. The two actually met in October of 2016 while on set of Britney's Slumber Party music video. And if he looks familiar, he was also featured as a construction worker in Fifth Harmony's Work From Home music video. The two exchanged phone numbers and made their relationship official in January of 2017. And just like every relationship, there were ups and downs, but Sam has been described as a positive light in her life. And fast forward to 2021, after almost 5 years together, they tied the knot in June of 2022 in their Los Angeles home. Some celebrities that attended their wedding included Madonna, Selena Gomez, Paris Hilton, just to name a few. Britney did walk herself down the aisle due to a rocky relationship she had with her family, and her wedding was far from perfect because one of her exes actually showed up and tried to intervene. But we'll get into that later on. However, the two decided to separate in August of this year, just over a year after first getting married. And since her memoir was just recently out, Sam actually responded when TMZ photographers approached him and asked if he was worried about what his ex-wife was going to say. To which Sam responded by saying no, because he already read it it and added he was actually very proud of her. He also spoke about how she put a lot of hard work into it and said he'll be the first in line to buy it. And before this interaction, a source told Entertainment Tonight that Sam was actually thrilled about Britney's book because she finally had the opportunity and freedom to speak her truth and felt like she needed to address certain things after going far too long being silenced or filtered. Although Sam is talked about in her memoir, he isn't the full focus as she shares more on her early life, career, and her whole situation surrounding her conservatorship. But she does refer to Sam in her book as a gift from God, as she instantly felt a connection towards him. Although the two are now separated, it's great that Britney's ex is still showing support towards her and her journey after her conservatorship. And for our number 4 spot, we have Megyn Kelly. This journalist, media personality, and host of The Megyn Kelly Show discussed Britney's memoir. In fact, it seems Megyn has strong feelings towards the book as she believes what Britney shared in her tell-all about her childhood explains why she is the way she is today, due to everything she has previously gone through. Megyn states, "I think there are actually a lot of life lessons in this thing. A lot of life lessons for people thinking about putting their child anywhere near the entertainment industry. Frankly, it's a manual on how not to raise your children. As you may know, children in the entertainment industry has always been a hot topic as many grow up to share their disturbing stories as child stars. Brooke Shields, Lindsay Lohan, and Amanda Bynes just being a few that have spoken up about their time in the spotlight as children and how that has affected their adulthood." Megyn also touched on certain aspects in Britney's life, such as her drinking regularly with her mom and sister was very common from a very young age. Britney also shared how she was taking prescription medication in order to chase a certain feeling. Megyn also contributed to what Britney says about her father, Jamie, because the memoir reveals how he would monitor Britney's weight and diet and called her fat during the height of her fame, which Megyn says the love was not unconditional. The media at the time was also constantly criticizing female celebrities for their weight, including Britney, and obviously hearing it from your father makes it that much worse. And of course, she also talked about what Britney had to say about her ex Justin Timberlake and discussed how Britney had to terminate her baby at just 19 years old, even though she didn't want to, and described this as a horror story, a string of horror stories. Megyn says that she hopes young girls and young parents read Britney's memoir and hope they don't want anything to do with that industry and allow them to find their self-worth somewhere else, before stating, "It's not really that hard to raise good kids. It really isn't. You just have to spend time with them." And for our number 3 spot, we have Paris Hilton. Before the memoir was even released, some aspects of the book were shared, including Paris herself and the times Britney would party with her alongside Lindsay Lohan. Britney noted that their days out were never as wild as the press made it seem, and even added how she never had a drinking problem. And during that partying era, Britney details how she was slapped for the first time after one of these nights out. After Paris and Lindsay dropped her off at her beach home, her mother was furious after Britney partied till 4 a.m. while her mother was watching her 2 sons. So her mom slapped her so hard that Britney says she will never forget it, before adding, "Since then, I've always wondered what it must feel like to slap someone," and added, "Guess I will never know." And on October 21st, Paris actually shared her thoughts on Britney's memoir on her Instagram story as she captured a screenshot of a quote from the book where Britney describes Paris as, quote, "one of the people who was kindest to me when I really needed kindness." Britney even added onto that by saying she encouraged me to have fun for the first time in a long time. And Paris responded to these quotes by writing, "Love you, Britney Spears. Congratulations on your new book." And for number 2, we have Jada Pinkett Smith. I don't know why I didn't expect her to be on this list, but also I'm surprised I didn't expect her. Well, Jada posted a video on Instagram dedicated to Britney. The two were actually touring together in 2004, and the clip that Jada posted was an old promotional video for the tour. Britney is seen approaching Jada before asking who she is, and Jada reaches her arm out and magically opens a portal as she asks Britney to join her. Jada welcomes Britney to the Memoir Club, and in the caption shares how Britney once welcomed her to open for her on the Onyx tour with her band, and calls Britney sweet and supportive before saying back on a different stage as they share their journeys on the page. Wow, maybe Jada should get into some rapping instead of sharing details about her and Will's relationship. Jada says, "I can't wait to read your book, Britney, and I'm sending you love on your pub day. Congrats." Jada has also recently released her own memoir on October 17th that also made headlines due to her sharing to the public how her and Will Smith Smith have actually been separated since 2016, and even detailed how Chris Rock invited her onto a date during divorce rumors, which has actually caused Chris to publicly discuss how he hates when he's brought up in all the Smiths drama. I actually had no idea Jada was even in a band in the past, let alone toured alongside Britney. Am I the only one? And in our number 1 spot, we have Jason Alexander. Jason was a childhood friend of Britney's, and the two made headlines back in 2004 after they got married in Las Vegas, where Britney was spotted wearing jeans and a baseball cap for their nuptials. But that wasn't the reason why everyone in the media and their pet turtles were talking about her, because after 55 hours of being married, Britney's team actually had the wedding annulled at the instance of her family. In her memoir, she shares how people have asked her if she loved him, and she clarified by saying they were not in love, and said she was honestly very intoxicated from drinking, and at the time in her life, she was just very bored. But back in 2012, Jason actually shared with ABC News how he went with his feelings and says he was in love with her and he thinks she felt the same way. When Britney went on to marry Sam in 2022, Jason was actually arrested for trespassing and refusing to leave property, battery, and vandalism, as his bail was set at $22,500. And if you're wondering why Jason's arrest has anything to do with her wedding in 2022, it was because this was due to Jason showing up to her house to allegedly try and stop Britney from marrying Sam. He was holding a sharp weapon when he got there while he was looking for his ex. He said he had to stop it because no one else would, as her family wasn't in attendance of her wedding either. He actually was also arrested in 2021 after allegedly violating a restraining order, and he was charged with violation of order of protection and aggravated stalking. But wait, there's more, because we haven't even discussed Jason's reaction to Britney's memoir. Well, he told TMZ that readers shouldn't believe a word she says in her book. Britney details how she made the decision to marry Jason because she was so out of it from the partying and thought it was a brilliant idea in the moment to go to the Little White Chapel at 3:30 in the morning, where she tied the knot, in the one and only city of Las Vegas. Apparently, there was also another couple getting married there, so they had to wait in line to be married. But according to TMZ, Jason insisted it was true, sober love, according to him. But of course, fans have called him out for lying, because 8 years after the ceremony, he told ABC News that the two were drinking the night of their wedding, so it seemed like he was caught sharing two different narratives of the night, that the two were married and isn't too happy about what Britney had to say about their short-lived marriage. Their 55-hour wedding makes Kim Kardashian's 2011 marriage to Kris Humphries actually seem pretty long, as they were married for 72 days. Following the release of The Woman in Me, Britney shared many parts of her life that included more than just those celebrities on the list. She talks about her perfect photo with Mariah Carey, the uncomfortable interview with Ryan Seacrest, and admitted to cheating on Justin Timberlake in the past with Wade Robson. There is just so much she's been unable to share until now, as fans praise her for her journey of healing after her 13 years being under her father's conservatorship. At number 5, we have Christina Aguilera. The two pop icons actually met back in the early 90s when they were cast members on the set of the all-new Mickey Mouse Club alongside Justin Timberlake and Ryan Gosling, just to name a few. They started off in a friendship, however, the two were often put against one another due to the rise in fame they both began to get as they rose to fame in the early 2000s as pop icons. Christina has even talked about how they were always being compared to one another from a very early time in both of their lives. In fact, Christina was just 13 when she joined the Disney show and Britney was 11. One specific moment that many believed caused tension between the two stars was the 2003 VMAs. Britney, Christina, and Madonna shared the stage during their performance, and at the end, both Christina and Britney shared a kiss with Madonna. However, due to the editing, cameras showed Britney locking lips with Madonna before cameras cut to Justin Timberlake, who was Britney's ex, as they broke up a couple months before. This completely removed Christina from the situation and made her seem forgotten about, as everyone focused on the ex-couple's reaction. And at the time, their kiss alone caused controversy, as discussed in an interview with Oprah, as she asked Madonna if they were attempting to make a political statement with the kiss before adding she doesn't know if most of America has seen two girls kissing before. Fueled rumors surrounding a secret relationship Madonna had with Britney. And the homophobia wasn't subtle either, as many viewers didn't understand the kiss and thought it was a way to corrupt the minds of their children. Christina talks about this VMAs moment in a 2018 interview with Radio Andy, as called it a cheap shot from the producers due to them cutting out Aguilera and instead jumping to Justin Timberlake. She even stated, I definitely saw the newspaper the next day. It was like, oh, well, I guess I got left out of that one. Although the two seem to have an off and on friendship throughout the years, Christina appeared on Jimmy Kimmel Live just recently where she was asked about Britney's memoir and whether she thinks she'll be a part of the book. Christina said she doesn't know before saying she's hoping everything is all good with her and how the future should be celebrated. But Kimmel asked her if she hopes she's in the book or if she would prefer to not be included in the book, before joking he would want to be featured in the book if he was given the chance. Christina responded by saying, "Let's put it this way, I'd rather it be you than me, so hopefully you'll be in it. You'll make the book. I guess with time, we'll be able to see if Britney actually talks about Christina at all, or maybe even Jimmy Kimmel. That would be a win for him." And for number 4, we have Justin Timberlake. He met Britney back in the early 90s the same way Christina did, and that was on set of the Mickey Mouse Club. And in 1999, as both of their careers were taking off, they confirmed their relationship. And in early 2002, the two called it quits and their relationship turned messy as Timberlake released Cry Me a River, which is about Britney and his claims of her cheating on him. Well, now fast forward to 2023, we now know because of Britney's memoir, she actually was pregnant back in 2000 with Justin's baby. And at the time, both of them were 19 and Britney actually addressed the situation as she stated, "It was a surprise, but for me, it wasn't a tragedy. I love Justin so much, I always expected us to have a family together one day. This would just be much earlier than I'd anticipated, but Justin definitely wasn't happy about the pregnancy. He said we weren't ready to have a baby in our lives, that we were way too young, and because of that, she did end up getting her pregnancy terminated." And since this news, fans have pieced together her 2003 song Every Time, where she actually hints at the whole pregnancy situation with lyrics like, "I guess I need you baby, and every time I see you in my dreams, I see your face, you're haunting me." And she also sings about her emotions she has felt during this difficult time with one line reading, "My weakness caused you pain and this song's my sorry." And in her music video, you're able to see Britney dressed in all white in a very bright background almost symbolizing heaven, where she enters a hospital room with a woman who just gives birth to her newborn baby. And Justin's response to the song was his song titled Cry Me a River, which many fans think is extremely disappointing, especially with the new information about what Britney really went through, and his song has been a huge success. And according to Britney, after she went through with the termination, Justin attempted to console her by playing his guitar. Although Justin hasn't directly responded to these claims just yet, according to a source who spoke to Entertainment Tonight, he and his wife Jessica Biel are trying to move on. Justin has been focusing on his own family and trying not to concern himself with Britney's memoir. In recent years, Justin has tried to be supportive of Britney from a distance. They dated so long ago, but he still has respect for her. Justin and Jessica want everyone to grow and evolve instead of continuing to bring up the past. However, his comments on Instagram are flooded by Britney supporters, and maybe he will post a public statement, but right now it's unsure. And for number 3, we have anonymous A-list celebrities. Earlier this year, Britney's memoir was reportedly delayed after A-list celebrities were the publisher Simon & Schuster put the book on hold after getting letters from 2 of her famous exes, according to The Sun. A source told the outlet that Britney is brutally honest in the book and how there is a lot of nervous A-listers and strongly worded legal letters were sent to the publishers from those who fear what she has written potentially about them. The source also did say there's a fair amount of throwing people under the bus as she discusses past relationship, which some of these people are revealed for the first time ever. Although she lived a very public life from a very young age, some relationships and encounters have never been seen or talked about yet, including film stars and those in the music industry. The source continues to say that Britney has wanted this book to tell her truth, which has worried some people. Her book deal is set to be worth $15 million, and this is Britney's way to come out with her full truth after being under her father's conservatorship for more than 13 years and took a huge public battle for him to finally step aside just recently in August of 2021. In our number 2 spot, we have Jessica Biel. She is not only an actress and film producer, but also the wife of Justin Timberlake as they have 2 kids together. Well, the couple got married back in 2012 after they began dating in 2007 and broke up briefly in 2011 before getting engaged and getting married. Well, since all the Britney news came out, it has not only affected Justin himself, but also his family, as her comments on her Instagram have been limited. But a few comments that are available to read write, "Gaslighting Britney really isn't a cute look, Jessica." But others responded to this comment by saying, "Leave Jessica alone." However, an insider that was quoted by the Mirror states how they have no idea if the termination of Britney's pregnancy was ever told to Jessica, because Justin's relationship with Britney isn't one he discusses with his friend, before saying he's not in denial about it, but to him it happened a million years ago. And because Justin is in the spotlight right now, it has caused other issues surrounding Jessica and his relationship to be brought up, with claims of Justin telling other people that his relationship with Jessica was over, even though he was allegedly just cheating behind her back. He actually addressed these cheating rumors back in December of 2019 after he was photographed holding hands with his Palmer co-star. He then blamed his behavior on drinking and apologized to Jessica and their son for the embarrassment that he put them through. Because she is being dragged in the situation, I'm sure if she has to, she will also make a public statement. And for our number 1 spot, we have Jamie Lynn Spears. This former star of the show Zoey 101, who is also Britney's sister, seemed to have been close years ago. But due to the conservatorship and other issues, Britney and Jamie Lynn have both been publicly against one another. And Britney's memoir is not the first in the family, as Jamie Lynn also released a memoir titled Things I Should Have Said that was published in January of 2022. But her memoir was highly criticized, and even Britney dedicated a whole Instagram post of her sharing her thoughts on her sister's book that has since been deleted, and even sent a cease and desist letter to her. Although Jamie Lynn had a promising career, especially with the huge success of Zoey 101, the show was cancelled due to her becoming pregnant at 16 years old. And Britney actually discusses this in her new book, claiming her whole family hid her sister's pregnancy from her, and she actually found out through the media. Although Jamie Lynn has stayed quiet, there's definitely fear going on in the family surrounding what Britney is going to say about them. Especially Jamie Lynn, because of the things she said about her sister in her own book. But Jamie's book didn't receive much support, as many people spotted her memoir being sold at dollar store for $1.25. And the reviews on this book on Goodreads is sitting at 2.5 stars and 958 reviews, with a 1-star review writing, "She can't act, she can't sing, she can't write. Her only talent is enslaving her sister," with the 5-star review writing, "Very interesting. It was refreshing to see her side of things rather than just the rambling of social media report." It's crazy how much has already been out without the book even being released yet. And with apparent worried celebrities, I'm sure when it actually does come out, it will be headlines after headlines, as Britney is finally able to share her side of her story. I'm sure some celebrities simply haven't responded yet because they're waiting for the full memoir to be released before having any public statements. What do you think?
Number 10, conservatorship. In 2008, Britney was placed on a psychiatric hold, and later under a conservatorship by her father, Jamie Spears. In her book, she explained exactly what she was going through at the time. She wrote, "Shaving my head and acting out were my ways of pushing back. Under the conservatorship, I was made to understand that those days were now over. I had to grow my hair out and get back into shape. I had to go to bed early and take whatever medication they told me to take." Britney revealed that she felt infantilized under the conservatorship and lost her passion for music. She said she became more of an entity than a person on stage. Quote, "I had always felt music in my bones and my blood. They stole that from me." Then we come to one of the best lines in the book. She said, "Think of how many male artists gamble away all their money. How many had substance use or mental health issues. No one tried to take away their control over their bodies and money. I didn't deserve what my family did to me." For anyone who's followed Britney's story over the years, this memoir really feels like a breath of fresh air, and there's just so much we didn't know about her life. Number 9, pregnancy with Justin Timberlake. In what is now one of the most talked about parts of the book, Britney spills what is the biggest secret of all. She recalls her days on the Mickey Mouse Club, where she met Christina Aguilera, Ryan Gosling, and of course Justin, who she later formed a romantic relationship relationship with. She talked about their first kiss as a Janet Jackson song was playing in the background, and the difficult decision she had to make in 2000 after learning that she was pregnant. She said, "It was a surprise, but for me it wasn't a tragedy. I love Justin so much. I always expected us to have a family together one day. This would just be much earlier than I'd anticipated." But she said that Justin definitely wasn't happy about this pregnancy. He said that they weren't ready to have a baby in their lives and that they were way too young. So we now understand why sources were saying that Justin is concerned about Britney's memoir. She also revealed that if the decision had been up to her and her alone, she never would have done it. But she only did so because Justin was sure that he didn't want to be a father. Looking back at that experience, she said, "To this day, it's one of the most agonizing things that I have ever experienced in my life." Number 8, the 2001 VMAs performance. Britney also opened up about how scared she was of the snake during her iconic performance of "I'm a Slave for You." Apparently she was trying to look down the entire time because if she looked up and caught its eye, she thought it would kill her. Quote, "In my head I was saying, just perform, just use your legs and perform. But what nobody knows is that while I was singing, the snake brought its head right around to my face, right up to me and started hissing." Though she also had another infamous VMAs performance that went down in history. The night that Madonna shared her onstage kiss with Britney and Christina Aguilera live at the 2003 VMAs. It was perhaps one of the most famous moments of controversy, and Madonna kissed Britney full on the mouth and then Christina right after that. The camera then cut to Justin Timberlake's stern expression, which was hilarious because he was dating Britney at the time. So the whole thing was pretty awkward and clearly a publicity stunt with some in-your-face queerbaiting. But the double kiss eventually became one of the most notorious performances of all time, and it's clear that Britney has always been pushing the envelope when it comes to displaying her sexuality. It's just another reason that she's been able to maintain her icon status for so long. Number 7, relationship with her mother. Britney's parental relationships are covered a lot in the memoir, where she discusses her strained relationship with her mother, Lynn Spears. And this is when we find out more about her childhood and how that linked to her drinking history. She said she started drinking alcohol with her mother when she was in 8th grade, which is obviously enough to raise a few eyebrows. But the issue here is that she did not just have a sip of wine, it was a lot more than that. She said, "For fun, starting when I was in 8th grade, my mom and I would make the 2-hour drive from Kentwood to Mississippi, and while we were there we would drink daiquiris. We called our cocktails toddies." Britney loved that she was able to drink with her mom every now and then, but said that the way they drank was nothing like how her father did. When he drank, he grew more depressed and shut down, whereas they became happier, more alive and adventurous. While it sounds like she was a lot closer to her mother, you have to question this behavior and just how young Britney was introduced to drinking. It's actually really sad. Number 6, the 2007 meltdown. We all know that Britney's time as a global superstar has been riddled with problems. In 2007, she infamously shaved off her hair and attacked a photographer's car with an umbrella. Following that incident, she was placed under a conservatorship. Her father then served as one of her conservators. After 13 years, she fought to end the conservatorship and told an LA court that she simply wanted her life back. She's now opened up about that breakdown and exactly what was going on in her head at the time. The incident involved Britney storming into a California beauty salon and completely shaving her head. She explained that shaving her head was an act of defiance. Quote, "I'd been eyeballed so much growing up, I'd been looked up and down, had people telling me what they thought of my body since I was a teenager. Shaving my head and acting out were my ways of pushing back." She said she was later forced to grow her hair out and take medication after being placed under that conservatorship. And that's when the control really started. After that, she wasn't allowed to drastically change her appearance because her father knew every single thing that she did all the time. Number 5, almost in the Notebook. Although Britney Spears is best known for her music, she did have a short career as an actress in the early 2000s. She was in Crossroads, which is an experience that she said wasn't easy because of what acting did to her mind. She later goes on to say that she was up for another role in The Notebook, and she got so far in the end that the casting came down to her and Rachel McAdams, who we all know ended up getting the role. Britney said that even though it would have been fun to reconnect with Ryan Gosling after their time on the Mickey Mouse Club, she's glad that she didn't do it, because if she had, instead of working on her album In the Zone, she says she would have been acting like a 1940s heiress day and night. So she has no regrets about missing out on that role. And while the movie turned out to be a classic and probably one of the most iconic romance movies out there, no one really knows what it would have looked like if Britney scored that part. So that is just going to have to remain one of life's biggest mysteries. Number 4, her father's obsession. Britney and her father, Jamie Spears, have a complex relationship, and he became one of her biggest critics. In her memoir, Britney shared the harsh judgment that she constantly received from him. She said, "If I thought getting criticized about my body in the press was bad, it hurt even more from my own father. He repeatedly told me I looked fat and that I was going to have to do something about it." And Britney endured Jamie's criticism as a young child too. She said, "Feeling feeling like you're never good enough is a soul-crushing state of being for a child. He drummed that message into me as a girl. Even after I'd accomplished so much, he was continuing to do that to me. Jamie's troubling opinions about Britney worsened when she was under the conservatorship. In 2008, her father was named as one of the several individuals who could make important decisions for her. And when she entered that conservatorship, her bodily autonomy was stripped away. She had to grow her hair out and get back into shape. For the next 13 years, Jamie would remain in control of much of her life up until his suspension in 2021. That brings us to number 3, lost all control. For 13 years, Britney had little to no say in every aspect of her life after she was placed under conservatorship due to her mental health struggles. She was unable to make financial, physical, and personal decisions that were ultimately left up to her father. In 2021, her conservatorship was dropped, but the trauma did not go away overnight. In her memoir, Britney talked about how this affected her life. She said it stripped her of her womanhood and made her into a child. She truly believes if they let her life unfold the way she wanted it to, she would have found herself in a better place. Quote, 13 years went by with me feeling like a shadow of myself. I think back now on my father and his associates having control over my body and my money for that long, and it makes me feel sick. A huge portion of her life was controlled by other people, and she believes that she just didn't deserve what her family did to her. Number 2, the Mickey Mouse Club. As we know, Britney got her start in the entertainment industry at a very young age, but it wasn't all fun and games. In 1993, she landed a gig on the Mickey Mouse Club at just 12 years old. For the next 3 years, the Mickey Mouse Club would be a huge part of her life, but starring in the show wasn't always easy. Britney said that it was a bit like a boot camp. She wrote, being in the show was boot camp for the entertainment industry. Extensive dance rehearsals, singing lessons, acting classes, time in the recording studio, and school in between. Similar to school, she said that the show's cast was divided into cliques, with the younger crowd in one group and the older crowd in another. Although she admits that there were some fun moments like sharing a kiss with Justin, it was still a grueling job. She said it was exceptionally hard work, and oftentimes the group of kids and teens would be in rehearsals practicing choreography 30 times a day. Yes, you heard that right, 30 times a day. The Mickey Mouse Club was a job at the end of the day, and it took up a large chunk of Britney's childhood. And coming in at number 1, finding her voice. Britney has gone through so much in her life, and people don't know the half of it. During court testimony while she was fighting for her freedom, she said that she had been forced to go to a mental health facility against her will in early 2019. It was only in November of 2021 that she regained control of her multi-million-dollar fortune and various aspects of her life, although the court battle over legal fees is still ongoing. During recent hearings, things became very contentious when it came to Britney's personal well-being. In January of 2022, her father's attorney requested to unseal all records from the duration of the conservatorship. The singer's attorney Matthew Rosengart called this offensive and highly inappropriate. At the time, he said, "We don't think a father who loves his daughter would file to unseal her medical records." And about a year ago, her younger sister Jamie Lynn Spears published a memoir called Things I Should Have Said. In it, she included certain details of Britney's life that were told from her own perspective, and it really seemed like she was trying to paint a negative image of her older sister. Fans were outraged by the book and accused her of attempting to profit off of Britney's name while trying to make her look bad.